Question number 2, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr Speaker, this question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, does he agree with the September 2015 Treasury Report that KiwiSaver fees are in the upper third of comparable countries in the OECD? And if not, why not?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, no, I don't agree with that statement, and I understand, in fact, have been told the Treasury are having second thoughts about that statement as well. That's because New Zealand is ranked in that particular report at 10th out of 26 in the OECD. That number may be many things, but it isn't a third. And the good news for the member is that data is from 2011, and since then, through the appointment of default providers, the lowered fees on the medium balance account for KiwiSaver has dropped by nearly 20%. And so the next figures we would expect to see a better result again.
That's good. Pleasing.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
So the Financial Markets Authority is wrong about cash cows and raking in dollars in fees a year. And does he think it's fair that ordinary New Zealanders are paying $300 million each year in fees to private KiwiSaver providers compared to $4.1 million towards our state-run world-class superannuation fund?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I'll just repeat the answer that I gave the member in the primary question, and that is that since that information has been released, the government has gone through a process of reappointment of default providers, and that appointment of default providers in 2014 has lowered the fees on a medium KiwiSaver balance account from $69 a year to $56 a year, which is a saving of nearly 20%. And the government will continue to look for further opportunities to ensure that costs stay down through competition in the KiwiSaver sector.
Good.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
If those dates are relevant, why is the Treasury Report dated September 2015? And what action has he taken to ensure that private KiwiSaver providers with low-level returns are not ripping off the New Zealand people and treating them like cash cows, as warned by Chief Executive of Financial Markets Authority, Rob Everett?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the report may have come out in 2015, but it clearly states it uses 2011 data. It's absolutely correct, Mr Peters. And it says that we are 10th out of 26 in the OECD as at 2011. And as I've just pointed out to the member, since that time, default providers have lowered their fees through a competitive process with the government. Appreciate his question. He's given us the opportunity to talk about the progress being made.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Why is it that the Financial Markets Authority's report is dated May 18, 2016, that's this year, last month? And if his government wants to offer New Zealanders a state-run savings scheme with minimal fees and guaranteed returns of capital, why will it not just support New Zealand First's world-leading low fees Kiwi fund policy?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, there's many things that I could describe the member, but world-leading not necessarily one of them. Mr Speaker, in terms of the KiwiSaver funding, in relation to the report that the member raised in his primary question, I have pointed out to him the issues with that report in terms of its age and the accuracy of the comment. And again, I can tell him that the good news is that the appointment of default providers in 2014 has lowered the fees. Also, to help the member, the government is helping to improve the knowledge of consumers to help them sort which fund to belong to, and that provides a better opportunity to make more accurate comparison between funds. And if you would like to go and have a look at that website, it's www.fundfinder.sorted.org.nz. It's on the internet.
Speaker?
Order. I'll deal with the point of order first.
I'll let him ask a question. I'll try it after. I want to table a document, sir.
Okay. Supplementary. Supplementary question, David Seymour.
How long have government agencies been carrying out this conspiracy of issuing reports using data collected before the report's issue date?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I thank the member for his question because I am quite concerned about that. It appears that all the data that's being used to produce these reports has been collected before the reports are produced, and that's possibly a significant problem in the quality of the reports.
Mr Speaker.
This is a point of order?
Yes, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston.
I seek to table a comparison of the returns KiwiSaver against New Zealand Superannuation Fund and against the Australian Future Fund, which shows how appallingly their performance
I don't need the last part. I need the source of the information.
Mr Speaker, I prepared it myself.
Yeah. And then I remind the member that it must be from a more than authentic source. I don't intend to put the question number 3.